As the Civil War comes to an end, it was a new beginning for our country. It was also the beginning of Lewis Edgar Jones' life. Welcome to Church History. I'm your host, Laura Lee Siemens. This is our summer season. I'm telling the stories of our great hymns. This podcast tells the story of the church in chronological order. We started with the story of Jesus, and we have traveled through history into the 1800s. For this summer, we're going to tell the story of the church in chronological order through our great hymns. So, enjoy this summer season. Life in Illinois during the 1860s was characterized by a mix of agricultural growth, industrial development, and the traumatic backdrop of the American Civil War. For many people in Illinois, particularly those in rural areas, life centered around farming. Agriculture was the backbone of the state's economy, with farmers cultivating crops like corn, wheat, and oats, and raising livestock, such as cattle and hogs. The 1860s were also a time of great turmoil due to the Civil War. Illinois played a significant role in the war effort, supplying thousands of soldiers to the Union Army. Cities like Springfield, the state capital, saw bustling activity as troops trained and prepared for battle. Families faced the hardships of having loved ones away at war. While at home, communities organized relief efforts for soldiers and their families. Socially and politically, Illinois reflected the national debates over slavery and states' rights. The state had a mix of abolitionists and pro-slavery advocates, leading to tensions that occasionally erupted into violence. Abraham Lincoln came from Springfield, and he emerged as a pivotal figure during this period, advocating for the abolition of slavery and ultimately becoming President of the United States in 1861. Overall, life in Illinois during the 1860s was marked by progress and conflict, with its residents navigating the challenges of war, economic change, and social transformation amidst the backdrop of a nation in turmoil. And Lewis Edgar Jones was born in Illinois on February the 8th, 1865. His childhood was marked by music and religious influence. He grew up in a devout Christian family. His parents, John Curtis Jones and Julia Ann Jones, were deeply involved in the Methodist Church, and they instilled in young Lewis a strong faith and a love for music. From an early age, Jones showed remarkable music talent. He learned to play music, and he became proficient enough that he was playing in bands and orchestras in his local community. Music was a significant part of his upbringing, and he continued to develop these skills throughout his youth. But his childhood was also shaped by the rural Illinois culture and the social environment in the late 19th century. Living in a small town like Yates City would have exposed him to this close-knit community where church gatherings and musical performances were the central to social life. And the Methodist Church in particular provided a nurturing environment for Jones' musical and his spiritual development. As he grew older, Jones became increasingly involved in many church activities. He loved leading singing in Sunday school and church services. His experience in the church and his musical talents laid the foundation for his later career as a hymn writer and a composer. Jones' childhood provided him with the inspiration and the religious grounding that influenced his prolific contributions to Christian hymns. In 1894, he published his very first hymn, "Sunshine in My Soul Today," one of the songs I remember growing up singing in Sunday school. In 1898, he moved to Chicago and joined the Moody Bible Institute, where he worked as a musician and a hymn writer. Lewis went to the Moody Bible Institute to study, and I'm going to put a link in the show notes from our episode on the life of D.L. Moody. Lewis attended university with Billy Sunday, and I will put a link in our episode on Billy Sunday in the show notes as well. During school and at the start of his ministry, Lewis spent time working and ministering with the YMCA, and we also covered the YMCA in past episodes. During this time, The YMCA was a Christian ministry that helped young men grow in their faith and be men of God. In 1901, Lewis was attending a camp meeting with the YMCA at Mountain Lake Park. It was during his time there that he wrote these words: "Would you be free from the burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you or evil a victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood." One of the most beautiful and beloved hymns was written at a Bible camp meeting, and I love that. So many great decisions for Christ have been made at church camps. 2 years later, in 1903, Lewis moved to California and worked with various evangelical organizations. He spent his life composing hymns and leading music. Then in 1930, Jones' health began to decline, but he remained active in Christian music all the way until his passing. In 1936, on February the 1st, Lewis Edgar Jones died in Long Beach, California. He left behind a legacy of hymns that continues to be sung in churches worldwide. Lewis Edgar Jones is remembered for his significant contributions to Christian hymns, particularly his uplifting and spiritually enriching compositions that inspire worship and devotion. Today, we're going to be playing the music from a church called Athens Bible Church. You can learn more about them in the show notes. I hope you enjoy this song. It's one of my favorite hymns.
There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you or evil a victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you be free from your passion and pride? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Come for a cleansing through Calvary's tide. There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Would you do service for Jesus, your King? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. Would you live daily his praises to sing? There's wonderful power in the blood. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. There is power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. In the precious blood of the Lamb. In the precious blood of the Lamb.
Thank you for listening to today's episode on the history of the hymns. We will be returning to our regular church history podcast in September. If you want to hear more podcasts, check out my website, lauraleesiemens.com. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and share these stories with your friends. We'll see you next week.